The reason I left our meeting so abruptly was I was trying to set up streaming to my YouTube channel, and it turns out you have to wait 24 hours before you can live stream, which means our society believes that you should be able to get a gun quicker than you should be able to live stream on YouTube.
I'm Paul, that's Steve, and this is a Shelfie.
It's been recommended that we start off a little calmer, and then maybe Teams will not glitch as much. So we're starting out with a little ASMR. I received this in the mail a week or so ago. I'm showing you the back of the envelope because I don't want to dox my co-host, nor do I want to dox myself.
I appreciate that.
But I like these bubble wrap envelopes. And what came in it was this book. This book that we're going to talk about today on today's Shelfie. It's called South. And it's Ernest. Yeah.
How do you do?
It is How Do You Do? I'm Ernest T. Bags. Ernest Shackleton, South. It is his memoir from his most famous trip, his most famous, well-known, the reason he's a hero, and the reason Sir Raymond Priestley said, Scott for scientific method, Amundsen for speed and efficiency. But when disaster strikes and all hope is gone, get down on your knees and pray for Shackleton. And this thing opens up with, I think I sent you a picture of this page. This is the most badass dedication I have ever read in any book ever. Get a load of that. To my comrades who fell in the white warfare of the South and on the red fields of France and Flanders. This guy, born in 1974, he was ahead of his time.
Traveled through time.
Born in 1874. By the time, so 74, you go, okay, so he was, I was comparing it to, we were born in in the late 1960s. Mm-hmm. So he was about the age we are, if he had lived that long. He did more in his 48 years than most people do in their entire life.
Right.
So,
I don't know about you. I haven't crossed the South Pole yet.
Not ever. I don't think he did either. He tried. Yeah. He really, really tried. He was born in 1874 in Ireland, and his family moved to London when he was 10. He was with Scott on one of his early expeditions in 1901. So, 25 years old. And then he, or 27 years old. But he was sent home early for health reasons. And then, of course, Scott tried to make it later to the South Pole, but didn't. But Amundsen did. So Shackleton was going to try to make it to the South Pole, but he had to change his plans once he found out Amundsen had made it to the South Pole. So it became the Imperial Transantarctic Expedition. And as we've said before in another episode, I can't remember if that was on our BookTube or if we did that on a different channel. But we covered the book Endurance.
Oh, that was the Don't Panic radio show.
Oh, okay. So that was a long time ago. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of when we did the show, did the In Edmondson's Tent review.
I'll link that at the end of this episode.
Yeah, nice. And so for that reason, this is a Shelfie. I'm not going to go into the details of the heroic age of exploration, but I do want to say I finished the preface of this book, and I could not be happier to be reading this. I finished the preface and started the first chapter, and the book Endurance was based in large part on this memoir. And published by the same publishing company, so it's fine, right? But this is his firsthand account, and it's just going to be awesome. Plus, it includes there were two ships, right? There was the Endurance and the Aurora. The Aurora, it's kind of like if any of you like to go, say, floating down a river, like tubing on a river. You need one car to drop you off. You need another car to pick you up. They were doing the same thing. If you march across Antarctica, you need one ship to drop you off, and another. And Aurora was the other one. They went through a bunch of crap themselves that isn't covered.
Imagine going through crap in the South Pole. That doesn't,
right?
You know. But to give 50. The folks at home a little bit of a personal journey with this book. Me and Amy, we were at one of our Goodwill trips, and I found it in the bookshelf, and I took a picture of it, and I sent a picture to you with like no context, and you never got back to me. So I put it back on the shelf, and we're like a mile down the road, and I get a ping from you. You're like, too late. I'm like, fuck. so about a week later, I went back, and there it was. Pulled it off the shelf, paid my $1 or whatever it was. It might have been a 50% off day. And then it sat on my table for a couple of months with every intention of mailing it to you. And then one day I'm cleaning off the table where I do all my editing and my artwork and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So took it to the post office, and there you go.
Thank you. It was very nice of you. And I listening to Nick's book haul over at the Book Graveyard, listening to his episode where he did the Pulp Fest book haul. It's like every other sentence is like, and then so-and-so gave me this book, and then so-and-so gave me this, and so I gave so-and-so this book. And I'm like, those guys are always giving each other books. Brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it because it says so much that you go, I know, I was thinking about you, and I knew that you would like this. So just thinking you and Amy out doing your thing, you're thinking about me. You're like, Steve would love this.
I assumed
driving
a
mile back.
Yeah, I assumed you already had it.
Oh yeah, you would think. I don't buy stuff for myself enough. I really should. But one of the striking things about this was how much so it was published like 1920 or something. The failed expedition was 1914 and 1917, where they were gonna march across, and then their ship got stuck in the ice, and they had to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff in open longboats in the South Atlantic to make it back to civilization.
Our mailbox is like down the street and around the corner, and it's about a 3-minute round trip, and I, begrudgingly put my shoes on just to go get the mail.
I know, and it's all icy, and you're like you're looking at your house, you get the warm glow of the lights, and you're like, I must make it to safety. And these dudes, like hundreds, over 1,000 miles they had to go, like walking, going in these open boats. It was wild. So they make it back around 1917. And they, when they first saw somebody from civilization, they said, "Who won the war?" They're like, "Oh, sit down. We have stories to tell about that." Yeah. So they all ended up going back and being in the war. They were all Navy people. Like they were part of the Admiralty or whatever. Or they got all enlisted. And a bunch of them died. So they survived this harrowing thing, and then a bunch of them died in World War I. So that's the red fields of Flanders in France.
I would be the most, pissed off ghost.
I'm going back. It's hard to imagine for king and country and how much that meant to people back then. And these age of heroism and all that. It's hard for us sitting here today to imagine being that loyal and that devoted.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the big controversies of the day was they left. Like, they basically departed England on the day that the war started.
Yeah.
They sent a telegram.
You know what? I'd rather go to the Antarctic than go to war.
They sent the captain, Shackleton, he went to his crew and he said, "I'm going to send a telegram to the head of the Admiralty offering up the services of both boats and the entire crew to the war effort, and we'll abandon the expedition." And they all, to a man, said, "Yes, let's do that."
Oh, okay. That's good.
So they sent the telegram, and a telegram came back within an hour saying, "Proceed." That's all it said, "Proceed." And then within a couple more hours, Winston Churchill sends his own telegram thanking them for the offer, but saying, this thing that you're doing for our country is going to be incredible and amazing for our country and king. Right. So go do it. But thank you for offering, right? Well, and he put that in there because he said there was a lot of controversy and a lot of people saying, you went off on a pleasure cruise while, people are dying in the fields of Flanders in France. And he pointed that out. He's like, yeah, it was anything but a pleasure cruise, first of all, and the importance to the country and to the king. And they ordered us to do it. So it's not like we were fleeing.
Imagine getting your mind blown when a telegram gets back to you in an hour. First of all, that would be like today's internet. We would just be, it's amazing how fast it travels. And the other thing is, I had wondered about that before you brought it up on this show, is like, did they took off and they parked somewhere in the Bahamas, and they got props on top of their, on the deck that make them look like they're out in the cold all the time, and they keep sending them back. The war is going on, and they're just having boat drinks the whole time. But no, turns out it wasn't faked.
No, it was a wildly different time, and they were wildly different people. Let's face it. There are still people who would love to go to war, right? We're just not those people.
Yeah, but ironically, or unironically, it's still the rich, because World War I changed how people viewed war.
Yeah,
war was for the rich until the machine gun, and after that,
meat grinder.
The meat grinder. After that, it became everybody else's problem.
Yeah. So that was fascinating because what I'm getting now is, sitting here 100 and some years later, I get to see, like, what was he thinking at the time, and what were the implications as far as he was concerned. And he apologizes in the preface for this being published so late, but he was like, it didn't seem right to publish it during the war.
I would have published it sooner, but it was a long war.
Yeah. I think that was the other reason, like, that Churchill said, by the way, I don't know if everybody knows this, but Churchill was the head of the Navy at the time. Yeah. He had not yet become prime minister. So that's why he was involved. You go, oh, wait, I thought he was World War II. He was. He had a different role. But one of the reasons he said, no, go ahead, is two things. One, Germany didn't really have a Navy to speak of. Like, the British Navy could chew up the German Navy and spit it out. So he's like, what's two more boats going to do, right?
If Britain had one thing,
an island nation with a global empire, they have a good Navy. And and the other thing is, they thought this war would be over in 6 months. Yeah. They thought the Russian army would roll the Germans. They thought the British and French would roll the Germans from the other side. And they thought a naval blockade would starve Germany into capitulation. But then the French showed up with their horses and their armor. Yeah. And their feathers coming off the top of their hats and their bright colored coats. And the Germans showed up with their machine guns. And they settled in for a nice, long 5-year war.
It had to have been, as we're veering off of the expedition, it had to have been literally hell on earth to just be like, okay, because like reading the Sharps books, like, like on the battlefield. It's like the commander yells to this guy, who yells to this guy, who yells to this guy, who finally goes charge,
blows a whistle,
and in the mean, so the commander yells charge, and the Germans pop up.
Yeah,
you know, and then
yeah.
the landscape turns into hell, absolute hell.
Hey, maybe one of us will read a book regarding World War I, and we can do a show on that. So, here's the spine for those of you that like to look at the spines.
The spine thing. Yeah.
Oh, there's a sticker on there. Nice.
Yeah, I think it was a library book or something, probably.
I'm using part of the envelope as a bookmark. And this is only how far in I am, but I know I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, you'll probably have it read in a week.
Yeah, and it has the pictures. Where's the? So this is a really famous picture. It's on the cover. These are pictures, y'all. This is 1914 to 1917, and one of the things Shackleton did was said, we're saving. We need food. We need water. Well, they had plenty of water. There's water everywhere. We're bringing all these important things, but one of the things we are not leaving behind is these photo plates. And there's some amazing photographs.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I'm thinking. Like, I don't buy stuff for myself, but that's exactly the kind of thing I would buy, is like finding really nice prints of these photos, you know.
Yeah,
or a coffee
I didn't know
table
you
book
were.
with them.
I didn't know you were as into it back in the day when I worked at HarperCollins, because there were several photo album books that came through on the Shackleton expedition that I just sit on my lunch break and read and then, destroy.
Guess who else didn't know? I didn't know either. I forget when I read the book, but I forget. I was reading books about survival. So I read that, and I read Adrift, where this guy, his sailboat crashed over in Europe and he floated to the Caribbean. And I read One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. And I was like reading all these books about suffering and survival. And one of them was endurance. And that's when I became fascinated with that. It was only like 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I can't wait until you read it, because I want a full report, Mr.
You got it. Yeah. It's funny how this is just a Shelfie, but we're talking about World War I and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that'll about wrap it up for this Shelfie. Hope y'all were at least intrigued by the story. And can't wait till the dead of winter. We'll probably read some more Arctic horror. Oh,
I've got one big Arctic horror that I didn't personally discover it. It's been in the world, I discovered it the way Columbus discovered America. So, and I have a whole bunch of ghost stories and stuff too, but it all revolves around, frozen cold horror with a hard R.
With a hard R. Hey, everybody, subscribe and all that crap.
And while you're down there subscribing, if Arctic horror, Antarctic horror is your thing, there's a book you may have heard of called The Mountains of Madness. There just so happens to be an illustrated version of it out there that you can pick up. I'll put the link down below, and like every chapter has like an illustration from that I've done. I'll put a link down there below if you're interested.
I think that's it. How do we end?
All right. Well, I'm Paul.
Steve.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your Shelfie.